all my listeners. Today we are going to continue on our journey of understanding Bhagavad Gita through the book of Acharya Prashant, and today we are going to continue on verses 2.4 to 2.6, which is titled as The Guru Uses Knowledge to Clean You Up. So let's start. Arjuna said, "But how can I, in battle, O slayer of Madhu, fight with arrows against Bhishma and Drona, who are rather worthy to be worshipped, O destroyer of foes?" So here we can see that Arjuna is feeling a dilemma to fight with arrows against Bhishma and Drona, who he thinks are rather to be worshipped. Surely it would be better even to eat the bread of beggary in this life than to slay these great shouted masters. But if I kill them, even in this world, all my enjoyment of wealth and desires will be stained with blood. So Arjuna's guilt has reached such a level that he prefers begging rather than slaying the great soul masters, because he feels that if he kills them, all his enjoyment of wealth and desire will be stained with blood. And indeed, I can scarcely tell which will be better, that we should conquer them or they should be conquer us. The very sons of Dhritarashtra, after slaying whom we should not care to live, stand facing us. So he is having a dilemma that who should conquer them? We should conquer them, then it will be better, or they should conquer us, then it will be better. He says that the sons of Dhritarashtra, after slaying them, it is not even ethical for me to live. So let's see what Acharya Prashant has to say. Arjuna is continuing with the poignant expression of his dilemma and his rather unenviable predicament. He says, I would be better to even beg to eat than to slay such high and noble teachers. If I slay them, in this world all my consumption would be rather drenched in blood. Look at my teachers, see how exalted they are. How am I to slay them? And if I do that, whatever they are then receive as proceeds would be stained with their blood. Am I expected to consume and enjoy that? So that's Arjuna's position, his dilemma. A few things are to be said here, where you just superficially glance at that Arjuna is saying. It's difficult to pick a hole in the argument. It is very difficult to pick a hole in the argument, because Arjuna is very well attached to and has a lot of respect to his teachers who has taught him from childhood. So it is very difficult to poke a hole in his argument. Look at how exalted my masters are. If I were to kill them, how am I to enjoy the resultant proceeds? Artha Kama. Whatsoever is then obtained to please my desires. So Arjuna is saying that the wealth I will earn by killing them will be drenched in blood, and they are of no use or enjoyment to me. Who is the teacher? At the core of Arjuna's indecisiveness lies this smooth question: who is a teacher? If you are a body identified person, then the teacher to you is just a body. So Arjuna is referring to Drona and Bhishma as his teachers. So Acharya Prashant questions that who should be considered a teacher. At the core of Arjuna's indecisiveness, this question looms large. Who is a teacher? If you are a body identified person like Arjuna, here is a body identified person, then the teacher to you is just a body like you are. If you are a mind identified person, then the teacher to you is a bundle of memories, an abstract of an ideology, somebody you have been related to and drawn your identity from. And Arjuna seems to be suffering on both counts, the body and the mind. So Arjuna is suffering on the both counts, the body and the mind. It is indeed interesting, rather amusing that to Krishna, Arjuna points that his teachers are all standing on the other side of the divide. To Krishna, Arjuna is saying, look that way, that's where my teachers are. How do I listen to you and fight them? That's where my teachers are. You still can't see the irony. If the teacher is just a body to you, then he will not be someone who can be very fundamentally different from you. The body is pre-programmed to deal with other bodies in a specific way, and the body cannot exceed that programming. If the teacher is a body to you, then try as hard as you may, your association, your affiliation, your relationship with the teacher will not exceed a certain mark. So Arjuna here is saying to Krishna that all of my teachers are standing there. So till now we can say that Arjuna is not recognizing Krishna as his main teacher. He respects him a lot, but he is not respecting him as a teacher till now. So Acharya Prashant is saying that if a teacher is only a body to you, he really cannot be any fundamentally different from you. The body is actually pre-programmed to deal with other bodies in a specific way. Body cannot exceed that program. Your association, your affiliation, your relationship with the teacher will not exceed a certain mark. You know very well in advance how to deal with bodies, that is human beings. Just as animals know how to deal with one of their kind, you too will know. So then someone who teaches you certain skills, you will not hesitate in calling him a guru. Then trainers will be labeled as gurus. People who impart your skills, physical or mental, will be labeled guru. So here Acharya Prashant is saying that a body identified person can easily refer to a person who teaches him or her certain skills as guru. So that's the thing. The trainers will be labeled as gurus. But actually they should be identified as trainers who teach you certain skills, but to a body identified person they are gurus. People who impart you skills, physical or mental, will be labeled gurus, and in doing that you will miss out on exactly that which Arjuna is very ready here to miss out on, the real one. So like a body identified person misidentifies his guru. So in the pursuit of this confusion, he will left out with the real teachings of the guru. If the trainer has been taken as the guru, then where now is the scope for the real one, the real guru? Obviously, the trainer holds a certain importance. How much is the importance that a trainer must hold? Exactly the importance that your body holds in your life. And the body being an important resource, rather the central resource, cannot be said to hold zero or minimal importance. Since the body is important, you feed the body, you keep the body, you keep the body healthy. Similarly, the trainer too is important. Then comes the teacher of the mind. He trains the mind, fills it up, informs it, gives it a certain shape. Such teachers are referred to as knowledge providers. So after the trainers, a little high comes the knowledge providers. So the knowledge providers are trainers of mind. They fill your mind with informative stuff and give it a certain shape. They have a very important role. So even the trainers have an important role, like the body, which is our central resource for throughout our life. That's why we keep it clean, healthy. So but now comes the knowledge providers. They are of certain importance more than the trainers, because they impart right knowledge into you. The result will be that you will fill yourself with all kinds of ignorance, which is false knowledge. So, like if you have not, they have a very important role, obviously, because if you have not been imparted the right knowledge, the result will be that you will yourself fill your mind with all kinds of ignorances, which is false knowledge. So the knowledge provider, who is commonly called as a teacher, definitely has a place, and that is a higher one compared to the place that a trainer is going on hold. Why? Because as you stand, for you the mind must be more important than the body. If the body is paining, that is something you can relatively easily tolerate. But if the mind is suffering, it will be more difficult for you to accept. So here Acharya Prashant compares the importance of body and the mind. For such a case, if you are exhausted from body, you can still work. But if your mind is all not all right, so we see that some patients are lying brain dead in coma. So that's a bigger tragedy, you can say. That mind is more important. So if an organ starts malfunctioning, you may even decide to give up on the organ. If your legs develop gangrene, you may decide to get them amputated. But if your mind goes corrupt, that's a far bigger tragedy. You cannot give up on the mind. You cannot slice away a portion of the mind, right? As we stand, being mentally deformed is definitely a bigger tragedy than being physically deformed. No, being mentally ugly is a more serious thing than being physically unattractive, right? So the teacher holds a higher place over the trainer just because the mind holds a higher place than the body. But the teacher, this knowledge provider, is still not the guru. Why? Because he does good thing to the mind but still keeps you within the mind. He fills up the mind with a nice way but does nothing to clean up. So Acharya Prashant is giving give difference between a guru and a knowledge provider. Knowledge providers impart you with the right knowledge, but doesn't clean or purify and empty your mind with all the trash within, which you have accumulated before coming to him. A mind filled with incense or jewels is still a better place than a mind filled with trash and stink, but it is still a very heavy place, irrespective of what it is full of. It remains filled up, it remains occupied. In a relative sense, better to be occupied with something worthy rather than something ignoble, useless. But any kind of occupation after a while becomes unbearable, becomes a disease. When Okay, so Acharya Prashant is saying that if your mind is filled with incense or jewels, then it is good to be be filled with trash and stink. But in a relative sense, it is better. But it is will be more better if your if your mind is not occupied with anything. It's absolutely in peace. So he's saying that, but any kind of occupation after a while becomes unbearable, becomes a disease for the mind. The natural state, the highest state of the mind is an empty one. A mind relieved of everything, mind as a void. That's what the ego really aspires for. What is the mind? The ecosystem that the ego creates around itself. The ego is an entity that does not like itself too much. Then how it can bother to look to like what it has accumulated around itself? So he's saying, what is the mind? The ecosystem that the ego has creates around itself, that is called the mind. Ego is the identity which itself does not like itself too much. Because it does not like itself too much, it will not even like the things accumulated around itself. The ego says, I cannot stand to bear my own identity. The doer that I am, then how do I please myself with the result of all doings over time? And the mind is nothing but the results and the remnants of the doings of the doer. Who is the doer? The one who is at the center of the mind, the ego. So here the Acharya Prashant is talking about the doer. So who is the doer? The doer is the center of the mind. The ego is the doer. So the contents of the mind never really please the ego. They may do so for a limited while. Episodically, everything appears beautiful and desirable. There is nothing that is continuously undesirable. If something is continuously anything, then that beats the law of duality. So here Arjuna is referring to the absolute race, the rat race, which we keep running the whole our life, because our ego is never satisfied with the things it has accumulated around itself. It can be satisfied for a limited while. Episodically, everything will be beautiful and desirable, but there is nothing that is continuously undesirable or desirable. If there is continuously anything, then that beats the law of duality. Just as nothing can be continuously desirable, equally nothing can be continuously undesirable. So all that is quite cyclical. And the ego has had enough of that. It's trapped in the cycle since eternity. So ego is trapped in the cycle since eternity. It is never satisfied with its accumulations. And in its own depth, the ego knows all this I have accumulated around myself is so good. Wealth, gems, relationships, knowledge, memories, concepts, ideologies, none of that take place beyond me, beyond, and that is that point is me. So the ego is saying that the things accumulated here are of no good. Okay. So ego has understood that the wealth, gems, relationships, knowledge, memories, concepts, ideologies, none of that can take me beyond the point for me. There is nothing in the mind that helps the ego transcend itself, and so even the knowledge provider, in some sense, beyond a point, actually starts irritating the ego. So the ego is, as we have talked, that ego is not satisfied with the things it has accumulated for itself because that's its very nature. So beyond a point, the knowledge provider starts irritating the ego. The ego starts giving fed up with the knowledge provider and says, "Come on, all this that you tell me and give to me sounds so high, so sublime, so scholarly. When I heard you for the first time, I actually felt like falling for you, streams of pure knowledge coming forth from you to me. But I have received nothing enough of the stream, and it's not quenching my thirst." So that's where KP ends his life. He must go down and depart. So after a while, the knowledge provider also irritates the ego, and after a while, the ego accepts that when he came to the knowledge provider for the first time, he was absolutely in awe of the knowledge he provided. Like it sounded so high, it was so sublime, so scholarly, and it was the pure streams of knowledge. But I have received enough of the stream and it's not quenching my thirst. The ego has recognized this. So that's where the knowledge provider ends his part. He must go down and depart. Now begins the role of the guru. His brief is to expunge the mind of whatever it has. Does the guru bestow knowledge? No, he uses knowledge. Please understand the difference between a teacher and a guru. The sole role of the teacher is to impart knowledge. When it comes to the guru uses knowledge as an instrument. He does not seek to impart knowledge, he uses knowledge to wipe you clean. And therefore, the knowledge that the guru uses has a certain unique quality. It is camphor-like. So now Acharya Prashant has reached the highest kind of teacher, which is here referred to as the guru. The guru also bestows knowledge, but he does not impart that knowledge into you. He uses his knowledge to purify you with all your previous superstitions or any other things, negativity kind of things. He uses his knowledge to wipe you clean. And therefore the knowledge that the guru uses has a certain unique quality. It is camphor-like knowledge. So the quality that is unique to the guru, that the knowledge he provides is camphor-like. What's peculiar about the camphor? So like what is the difference with the camphor? What is the specialty of the camphor? What's that quality called? Sublimation. So this quality is called sublimation. So you keep something on a camphor and you ignite the camphor. What happens to the thing which has kept on the camphor? It gets burned down, right? It disappears maybe. And what happens to that piece of camphor as well? That too disappears without a trace. So camphor is unique. The knowledge that the guru uses must be camphor-like. So if you find two people imparting knowledge and you want to discern which one of them, if any, deserves to be called a guru. So So here the knowledge that he is giving is should be like camphor like, because when we ignite the camphor, whatever thing is the placed on it also burns, and the camphor also burns within. So the camphor which will be instilled in you as the guru's knowledge should disappear without a trace of your previous superstitions, and start the process of unlearning. So, if you find two people imparting knowledge and you want to discern which one of them, if any, deserves to be called a guru, then try to detect a qualitative difference in the knowledge being imparted by the guru. If the knowledge that is coming to you is likely to settle down in your mind, settle down as a beautiful thing. So if you find two people, then how to know that which one is the guru and the teacher? So let's know how to discern this. If they deserve to be called the guru, then you should try to detect a qualitative difference in the knowledge that is given by the both. The knowledge that is coming to you is likely to settle down your mind. Settle down is a beautiful thing, no doubt. Settle down is a very expensive piece of furniture in your drawing room, no doubt. It adds to the ambience. It's royal. People walk in and say, "Wow, that's rigidity. Wonderful." Nevertheless, it just starts sitting in the room, occupying space. It becomes a presence. It takes away from the void. That's a teacher. It gives you something very beautiful, very worthy, very scholarly. You cannot display it and gain respect. Victorian furniture. See, who is a scholar of a medieval European poetry? So Victorian furniture, that's the kind of knowledge he has provided you with, and you will be overawed. You will see, wow, but he is cleaning you up. That's the question. So Acharya Prashant is giving a difference between the guru's knowledge and the knowledge providers or the teacher's knowledge with some real life examples. So let's read them. So if you see like a very expensive piece of furniture in your drawing room, no doubt that it adds the ambience, the royalness, everything. People walk and admire you. They say, "Wow, wow, it looks so beautiful." But nevertheless, it has started occupying a space in the living room. It becomes a presence. It takes away from the void. Cannot leave it the living room void. That's a teacher. It gives you something very beautiful, very scholarly, very useful. But you can display it and gain respect. Victorian furniture. See, who is a scholar of medieval European history, poetry. So Victorian furniture, that's the kind of knowledge he is provided you with, that you can show and gather admirations, and you will be overawed. You will say, "Wow, but is he cleaning you up?" That's the question. But the real question is he cleaning up your mind? That should be the question. Any occupation after a time is unhealthy. People don't realize the difference. They don't see the knowledge is of three different kinds. There is knowledge that enters your mind and spoils it. There is knowledge that enters your mind and decorates it. And there is knowledge that enters your mind and cleans it up. So he is referring to the three knowledges. There is knowledge which enters your mind and spoils it. There is a knowledge which enters your mind and decorates it. And there is a knowledge that enters your mind and just cleans it up. Or referring to the absolute high state of the mind, which is called void. The first kind of knowledge is not necessarily provided to you by persons. A lot of that is inbuilt in your system since birth. So that first kind of knowledge comes to you majorly from your body itself. The newborn need not be told that he is the body. The body itself has indoctrinated the newborn into believing that he is the body. It was not from TV or newspaper or social media that he gathered his identity. First identity. The first identity was inbuilt, ready-made. And then obviously we know later on we have all the nonsensical forces around us draining trash into our mind. So all that together constitutes the first kind of knowledge. Knowledge that your body keeps impressing you with, and knowledge that is drained into your mind by your various contacts, your families, with TV, with the educational system, all the contacts that you are having with your environment continuously. So that's the second kind of knowledge. Then there comes the highest kind of knowledge, that is called the organized knowledge. Knowledge that is based on facts. Knowledge that is so worthy, so beautiful, you feel like keeping it on your head. Knowledge you want to worship. Knowledge that is a product of research, universities, and laboratories. Knowledge that fetches you the Nobel Prize. That kind of knowledge is the second class of knowledge. The highest kind of knowledge will come now. This is the second class of knowledge. So here comes the topmost class. Knowledge that does not fill up your mind, rather directly addresses the one that you are. Because if your mind is being filled up, something is being done around you, not to you. You are the ego and the mind is all around you. The space around you is being filled up. That's the knowledge accumulation. The third kind of knowledge, the knowledge that comes to you from the Guru, does not intend to fill up the space around you. It directly addresses the one that you are. So the topmost knowledge that fills your mind directly addresses the one that you are, yourself, your ego. Because if your mind is being filled up with all the things around you, not to you, you are the ego and the mind is all around you. The space around you is being filled up with that knowledge accumulation. The third kind of knowledge, the knowledge that comes to you from the Guru, does not intend to fill up the space around you. It directly addresses the one that you are. And if someone claims to be a Guru and yet his knowledge or his method or any other equipment or resource that he is using does not directly address your fundamental central identity, then that fellow does not belong to the top class. So he's saying the topmost should address your central identity. What you have all the things gathered up in your mind before should be cleaned up. So that if any person who wants to call himself a guru, you should check these qualities. That is the is your is he addressing your fundamental central identity. Then the fellow is supporting the top class knowledge. That's a guru. The word for guru does not really exist in the English language, so they have borrowed guru itself, guru, but they have borrowed the word guru and rather misunderstood and misapplied it. So anybody who seems to be an expert at anything can be justifiably called a guru in the English language. Now, that's not the proper usage in spirituality or in Sanskrit. It's not as if there is no word for the guru in the English language, perceptor. So there is a word, and sometimes the guru is also called a master. Having built this foundational framework, now please see that where Arjuna's suffering lies. He is now recognizing who the real Guru is. So the real Guru one is standing right in front of him, very much available. And yet Arjuna is crying hoarse for those who are definitely much below the real one. In fact, he is ready to disregard the evidence of the real one for the sake of the old ones. Do you see this? So after learning the difference of all the three knowledges imparted by different gurus, the trainer, the knowledge provider, and the guru. So Arjuna is giving much higher value to Drona and Bhishma, which are not his gurus but his knowledge providers or teachers. The main guru is Krishna and is standing right beside him, but he is not offering that respect, and he is not recognizing the true value of Krishna. In fact, he is ready to disregard the advice of the real guru and seek the advice of the lower ones. Do you see this? Krishna would have taken it with a pinch of salt, but actually this is some kind of lack of respect towards Krishna. Right in the middle of the Gita discourse, the only discipline that the Guru has is complaining to the Guru that all his Gurus are lined up on the other side. How is the real one supposed to feel? The real one is not supposed to feel anything. He must have a very thick skin. He must be able to bear nonsense and ingratitude of all kind. So, Krishna, what's the state of mind should Krishna be in? He should be thinking nothing, because he should have a thick skin and bear the nonsense and ingratitude of all kind continuously, because Arjuna is not really able to differentiate between him and the knowledge providers, which are knowledge providers or teachers, which are Drona and Bhishma standing on the other side. The whole thing here is that only the real one knows that the disciple is being ungrateful, because the disciple is unconscious. Therefore, the disciple is unconsciously ungrateful. Therefore, the disciple cannot even be fully blamed for being ungrateful. Now, the teacher is conscious, so that teacher knows that this is one is ungrateful. Arjuna, in his own eyes, is not doing anything wrong. In fact, he feels that he is being wronged by being pushed into the battle. At this moment, he actually holds a bit of a grudge against Krishna. Why are you doing this? Why are you pushing me? Do you want to kill them? And what kind of a heartless warmonger are you? I am a dove, you are a hawk, I am a pigeon carrying the message of love and amity. And you are a kite and eagle, just bloodthirsty. That's Arjuna word inwardly right now. Inwardly right now. So Arjuna here feels a strong grudge against Krishna, because he is feeling that he is pushed into this battle. At this moment, he has a lot of grudge against Krishna. He asks that do you want me to kill them? You are a heartless warmonger. Are you? Internally, Arjuna is throwing these allegations on Krishna in his mind, and I'm a dove and you are a hawk. So he's like somehow differentiating with the Krishna's ideology with his ideology, that he is a dove and the Krishna is a hawk. He is a pigeon carrying the message of love and amity, and Krishna is behaving like a kite, an eagle, just bloodthirsty. That's Arjuna world inwardly right now. Only Krishna knows how deeply Arjuna is missing the truth, and therefore how deeply Arjuna is being ungrateful right now. Arjuna says they are all Mahanubhavan, great personalities. That's the word he uses, Mahanubhavan. So they are all Mahanubhavan, and who is Krishna? Someone who is getting Arjuna to fight the Mahanubhavan. Krishna knows how deeply Arjuna is missing the truth. Therefore, how deeply Arjuna is being ungrateful right now. Because Arjuna is saying that the Mahabhuvana, great personalities, that's the word he uses, Mahabhuvana. Okay, so here Arjuna is using the word Mahanubhavan for the knowledge providers and the teachers who are standing on the other side, which are Drona and Bhishma. So Krishna is identifying Arjuna's that he is still far from the truth. So, and who is Krishna? Someone who is getting Arjuna to fight the Mahanubhavan. By implicating, Krishna cannot be Mahanubhavan. By implication, Krishna cannot be Mahanubhavan. Do you understand Mahanubhavan? Someone great or my great of mind, that's called a Mahanubhavan. So till now, Arjuna is not seeing Krishna as the Mahanubhavan. What else has he said? I would rather in this life beg and eat than to enjoy the pleasures that come with murdering my teachers. See how badly and totally he is missing the point, as if Krishna wants him to fight for the sake of Arthur and Kama. But it is not like that. He is missing the points with quite a distance here. He is far from the truth, because he is thinking that Krishna is making him fight for the sake of money, power, prestige, and enjoyment. But the Krishna's motive are completely opposite. So let's learn about them. You fight so that later on you can enjoy the riches and pleasures of Hastinapur, he thinks. For Arjuna, it's all personal. For Krishna, the battle has much bigger significance and importance, because Krishna is thinking about establishing Dharma, and that's where the conflict between these two is definitely not on the same page. So another conflict here arises. Krishna says fight, and when Arjuna hears fight, it is not the same meaning that the word carries for them. For the two of them, the word fight carries very different meanings. Arjuna, being a person, is operating strongly from his personal center. Krishna is not seeing persons at all. Krishna is seeing the Dharma. Krishna is not concerned by the death of few people. He is not concerned about the large number of people gathered on the battleground. History would say that there were around close to 1,000 people in the battlefield at time. But irrespective of what the number is, it is very smaller number compared to the population of the Hastinapur and the Indian subcontinent at that time. Equally, that number who are assembled as soldiers, fighters on the battlefield are insignificant when compared to the numbers that would be affected in due time in the future by the result of the battle. So there are those who condemn Krishna for getting a few thousand or a few lakh people killed. What they do not see is the number that Krishna saved. He saved many more because the number could be 100x or 1000x, and I might be just understating. It could be a million x. For every person who bled on the battlefield, for every head that rolled on the battlefield, there were probably a million that were saved by Krishna. But the millions here refer to the local population of Hastinapur, which is far more in comparison to the people present on the battleground and the population of the entire Indian subcontinent. But just as we are talking here of Arjuna's ingratitude, we must realize how ungrateful we have been as writers of history, interpreters of history, and recipients of Krishna's blessing. But like here we are talking about the ingratitude of Arjuna, which Krishna is dealing with, having a thick skin of ignoring his ingratitude because he knows that he is miles away from the truth. He must realize how ungrateful we have been as writers of history, interpreters of history, and recipients of Krishna's blessing. We have received that he had given to us, and yet very frequently we keep implicating him of the charge of violence. There has been no dearth of people who have been continuously accusing Krishna. Oh, he got so many people killed, so that stream of ingratitude flows unbidden. Christ came several centuries after Krishna, and a lot of people say that what he brought to his land, the Middle East, was actually something very, very foreign, and that's the reason he got killed, or at least he was tried to be killed. So they say he probably came to India and learned from here. Nobody can be sure. There is no historical record. But when you look at what he is saying, that is so very different from the Old Testament that one feels intuitively. Is this coming from India? So one is reminded of his statements on the cross. Oh Father, forgive them, for they know not what they are doing. So Acharya Prashant is like talking of Christ here. So Christ came centuries after Krishna. So when he was bringing his knowledge to the Middle East, which was completely opposite to the knowledge of that time, which was prevailing in the Middle East, people tried to kill him, and he was killed. So while on the cross, he is making a statement that, "Oh Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." So many people say that this thing he must have been learned this kind of ignorance to ingratitude and insult from India. So talking of ingratitude, how does one not remember Christ? And whenever you will remember Christ, you will have to wonder, did he come to the place of Krishna? We can only guess. So, here we complete the till verse 2.5, and we will continue on the remaining verses in the next videos. So please like my video to appreciate, show your appreciation towards my comment your feedback, and please share it with your friends and family to spread the knowledge of Vedanta. And please subscribe my channel for regular updates. Thanks a lot.